Let's get into our mid-major marching sport top 7 poll ranking in week number 5. Not a lot of changes here, or are they? Nobody drops out of the top 7, but we do have a lot of changes, including a new number 1. Yeah, I did say that. A new number 1 in the mid-major rankings. Receiving votes this week are Central State, the Invincible Marching Marauders at 93, Kentucky State Mighty Marching Thoroughbreds at 96, and the Albany State Golden Rams Marching Show Band is at 89 in terms of those outside receiving votes. Let's get into the top 7. This week at number 7, Virginia State Trojan Explosion dropped to 1-1, 103 points. They moved down a spot. I told you in this poll ranking, you got to participate. A great article by the band director up there as they were lauded in terms of what came out of the first September framework of the national champions of bands that will be in Atlanta this Friday. Well, they better put in some work on this poll if they want to go up. When you think about it, they were in the top 7. I will say that. At number 6, Talladega Marching Tornadoes at 1-0 or at 106. They also dropped this week. Previously ranked number 5, Talladega Marching. I don't go too much and won't go too far in on the Marching Tornadoes. They don't have a football program. So it's not like it's their fault that they're not following their team. One does not exist. But that problem might be going away. You know, they're working on it. The study out there, they may be in luck in the next year or two. At number 5, Clark Atlanta Mighty Marching Panther Band, 1-0. Tough luck on the football side of things, and they are also going down in the band side of things. You got to get out there and travel. You got to march, support your team, even if they're 0 for on the season. 114 points. And number 4, Winston-Salem State Red Sea of Sound, 2-1, 1-0. They move up 3 spots this week, jumping up in the poll. That's the Fighting Stephen Gaithers, Red Sea of Sound. I want to see him talk some noise this week.
Stephen
They're all the way into number 4, the Red Sea of Sound there. At number 3, Benedict Marching Tiger Band of Distinctions. They fall from the number 1 spot. They have been inactive. They got a chance to make a statement with the top 3 matchup this week where they follow the team and give them their support and get in the band. It could be a big one, and it probably will be needed in terms of the support there. They still have one first place vote, but 134 points as they drop for number 1, which means we'll get a new number 1. Number 2 is the Miles Purple Marching Machine, 2-1, 1-0, 3 first place votes, 141 points. They move up a spot, which means not only do you have 1 versus 3 on the football side of things, that will be our SIAC football matchup, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the 3rd segment. But that also means if the band of Benedict comes down there, you'll also get a 2 versus 3 in terms of 0 quarter, halftime, and 5th quarter. You can't get too much better than that at its finest. I hope it works out that way. Langston Marching Pride, they are 2-0, 1-0. 4 first place votes, 142 points at number 2. They move up to number 1. They had that win over Texas College. The problem with Langston is they just don't have any more competition. So it could be challenged for them to stay at number 1. But at least they can say in week number 5, they were number 1. I'm going to go to you, AD Drew, first on this. What are your thoughts in the top 7 programs this week?
I'm just curious. Did your posters look at the HBCU game day article and decide to move Langston up based on what they saw in the HBCU game day article? Don't answer that, Doc. Don't answer that. But I just want to put that out there.
There's cheat codes out there. There are cheat codes.
I just want to put that out there.
That's your fault again.
Yeah, there you go. But I did notice that Florida Memorial is not in your top 7, who was up there in the Battle of the Band of the Year competition. But let's talk about this 2 versus 3 matchup.
There we go.
There is no way in hell, if you are the Benedict Tigers Marching Tiger Band of Distinction, you want to distinct yourself, get on that bus, go down I-20, and get to Birmingham, Alabama, because if there's ever a time that your team is going to need your support, it's going to be this Saturday when you go in to Sloan Alumni Stadium in Fairfield, Alabama to take on Miles. They're going to need all the help that they can get. And I'm not dissing the football team, but it's going to be that tough of a battle. Any advantage that you can get, be it from the band or wherever, if you are a Benedict Tiger, you want that advantage in this team. But the Purple Watch Machine is going to be there to defend their house when those Golden Bears get out there. So I am looking forward to 5 hours of band, football, band, football, band. That's zero, game, halftime, game, fifth quarter. I am looking for 5 full hours of entertainment. If you have disposable income, get to Fairfield, Alabama, and watch both these matchups.
Check this out, Charles. Before I go to you to get your top 10, let's see what Stephen Gaither, getting the announcement. He has his privileges as he was able to be the exclusive release of the 15 bands from both Division I and Division II. Credit to him. ESPN Band of the Year HBCU Band Championship. At the time, it was less than 80 days away. I'm going to talk about their top 10 compared to my top 7 and the 3 receiving votes, essentially 10 to 10, right? Winston-Salem State at 10. Number 9 is Benedict College. Number 8, Tuskegee. Number 7 is Savannah State. Number 6 is Little City State. Number 5 is Central State. Number 4 is Fort Valley State. Number 3 is Virginia State. Number 2 is Florida Memorial. Number 1 is Langston. Now, Stephen Gaither, this is a great job of reporting, I will say, but I got to talk about you not providing the nicknames of the bands. You did it for Division I, man. You're the one supposed to be a fan of Division II and NAIA. How you do that? Anyway, with that said, 4 of their top 10 also are 4 that I have. In terms of the top 7, I have 2 of the top 7. But, I mean, if you go and look at the top 10 to 10, I have 4 of the 10. So, not too bad there. I like to kind of shine mine. But this is done professionally by the bands, former band directors. So, they might know a thing or two. Remember, the difference between the two, they're looking at the showcase. They're breaking down in terms of how they perform. I'm doing head-to-head. So, man, you need to take advantage of both of these. Even when you think about it, when you're doing judging, right? You don't want to not have been practicing. If you're in football, basketball, Allen Iverson had the famous quote, practice. This is practice. If you want to perform, I think you need to get your practice in. So you better get on the road and get it done. Charles, what do you say about the top 7?
I mean, I couldn't say it better. I mean, if you're starting to get this national light, this national shine, you need to get on the road and you got to compete. Whatever that looks like. I'm so looking forward to this 2 versus 3 matchup this weekend with Miles and Benedict. Like I said, I took a look at the game and AD, you touched on it. I think it's checking off all the elements. It's checking off, the band, the fans, the game itself,
tailgate,
the tailgating atmosphere. Like you said, you got some disposable income. Fairfield, Alabama is one of the places you want to be this weekend.
Sure, all right, when you talk about what that looks like. Fairfield, Alabama. And we'll be back on the other side to talk a little bit more about those matchups as we get into the D2 side of things. But before I do that, I'm not going to ask AD's questions, but I need to go check some of those voters. As you said, they pushed Langston up to number 1. They were number 2, so it's not high. Maybe they were influenced a little bit. But Drew, AD, in terms of your thought process, I know you broke down the poll rankings. Who is the program that you see has the most opportunity to jump up the charts, if you will?
Are we talking about the Band of the Year charts or the Dr. Cavil's inside the HBCU's huddle report?
Great question. Both of them.
If you have to ask me,
I have to.
Virginia, I think the CIAA teams, and with Virginia State right now being the top CIAA team, and Winston-Salem being the top two CIAA teams, I think just because of the proximity of the CIAA schools to each other, those teams will have the biggest opportunity to either make or break themselves, because it's easier for those teams to travel than it is for the SWAC teams to travel and the other independent teams to travel. So I'm gonna stay with these two CIAA teams. If you had to push me in the corner, Dr. Cavil.
No problem. I just pushed Drew in the corner, so I'm gonna push Bishop as well. What are your thoughts in terms of who gets a chance to climb up these charts? For you, though, I just want you to focus on ESPN's Band of the Year, HBCU Band Championship. Who do you think gets to jump up in the poll when you're looking at what we're doing in our rank?
Virginia State Miles. They both get an opportunity to get showcased, not only with regards to competition, but because the football team is doing so well. There's just more eyeballs on what the band can do. So you get more of an opportunity to showcase yourself. So it kind of works in reverse. The eyeballs sort of fall if your team is nowhere within that mix of people paying attention to them. But when your team is in the mix, you start clicking on the elements, and all of a sudden you pay more attention to that band. You start paying more attention to where they are, how they look, how they sound. Are they participating? Are they the 12th man? I'm big on that. So, I know that might not be a national band metric, but I'm huge on that. Whether your band is actually engaged and not just playing randomly when you're in the red zone. Hello. Some band director ought to hear that right now.
So in other words, what you're saying, Charles, is if the fans stay around to the actually long enough to get to the fifth quarter because the game is interested in the second half, that helps your band out overall, right?
Yeah, you just start paying attention to them more. You really do. All of it starts helping. You start paying attention to whether they are playing, whether you're inside the 10-yard line. You start paying attention to it.
Good stuff. Great points by both of you all.